topic, micro credentials, why it is becoming important. While you have this 3 days program, and I am sure everything you are going to discuss and perhaps also listen from the other experts about micro credential. I will share my part more from the practitioner's point of view as to why this is becoming more and more important for the industries, and why the academicians, the academic institutions should work hand in hand with the industry to make these learnings effective. Give me a moment to put my slides on. I'm just presenting my screen. Do I need some, 1 second, sorry. There seems to be some confusion. Are you able to see my screen? Looks like there is some challenge. Yes, are you able to see my screen, please? Can someone confirm if you are able to see my screen or if you are able to hear me? Yes, sir. Yes, all right. Is the screen visibility okay, or there are multiple screens seen? It is perfectly fine. You can Thank you so much. After I superannuated from Bosch 2 years before, I now work with, I am Nagpur, apart from few other things which I do, as program director, and I introduce the skilling and the CSR part, because the sustainability is... Sorry for interrupting. Yes, please. Oh, is it? So that's why... Because the screen is small. Oh, you are not able to see my PowerPoint. Not even now? So, okay, sorry then. Let me try once again. So, I'll stop presenting for a minute and then come to Windows, and now share. So now opted for the Windows. Is it okay now or still not? So I have opened the PPT, and I have also now come through the Windows. Still not? No, sir. Because Windows, this PPT is seen on my screen here. So one is Chrome tab, other is this. Yes, now I think it should work. It's working? Yes, sir. It's all right now? Yes, sir. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I said I also support the IIM Nagpur for some of the programs on skill development, CSR. We are also starting a very interesting program now for the academicians who want to plan their careers for next 5 to 10 years, because there are a lot of changes happening in the education industry, as we all know, more because of technology, but also because of the globalization. So how to prepare yourself for the changes which are going to happen in the education industry is also one of the programs which we are launching, only it will be online program. So now the question is of changing the slide, so it has got stuck. How do I change the slide? Why it is not changing the slide now? Yes, I think it should work. Yeah, sorry. So let us come to the topic of micro credentials. Why it is important to talk about? Again, not sorry. Reload, sir. Yes. Okay. Windows and why it is again and again getting into this problem. Still can't see? So not even now? No, sir, not. Let me disconnect and then come back again then. Yes, sir. It's visible. It's visible? Is it or not? So we are sharing from here, sir. You can... Now, if it is? So we are presentation. Okay, okay. That is also fine. Okay. So is it shared from your side? Is it shared from your side, please? Can you continue? Yes, sir. We are sharing. Can you continue, please? Yes, sir. All right. So we are going to cover the small topic of micro-credential, which you already know enough about, role of industry partners, and real-life case study also. As the time permits, we will talk something about it and the credit location. So now coming to address the skill gap in the job market, why the gap is happening. One, of course, we know that the education system in the country is not very much skill-oriented, and the need in the industry is that of skills. And while of course knowledge is also needed, but more than the knowledge, it is the skills which are needed, and especially at the entry level. Number one. Number two, the job role itself are changing in the industry. So gone are the days when we could complete 4 years of our engineering or 3 years of another degree, maybe 2 years masters, possibly 3 years PhD, and then we think that we have learned enough until we retire from the companies. Now that is not the case, as we all know, that a lot of changes are happening led by the technology, but also otherwise for various reasons, and we need to not only review the performance of the people working in the companies every year. At least once in 3 years, we also have to review whether the job itself is required or not, whether there are so many changes in that particular job role that either the AI or any other system can take care of this role, and we may perhaps not need a person to take care of that. So we have gone to that kind of a situation now. That is why it is very much aligned. It is very much necessary that the academics align with the industry to know what are the skills required today in the job market and not what were required 3 years or 5 years before. Second thing is the micro credentials provide targeted competency-based learnings. We will talk a little bit more about these two topics in the coming slides also. The third one is about increase employability and career sustainability for learners. When I was with Bosch, there was a time when I had this assignment from the company that please review the performance and also the job roles of the people who are at the age of 50, while the normal retirement age is 60. So 10 years before the retirement age, if you have to review whether those people know enough so that they can contribute to the growth of the company in next 10 years, and whether those job roles in the way those were given to them and they are discharging them are still needed in the same form or not. My worry is that it happened for the people who were at the age of 50 few years before. It may come down. It may come down at 45. It may come down at 40. So if the job roles of the people start getting reviewed at 40, or even their own performance start getting reviewed to see whether they are needed in this company or not at such a young age. That means there is a clear question of the need to increase the employability of the people who are already employed. Once employed is not employed forever. And for their career sustainability, they have to learn something new. They have to undergo these competency-based learning modules, and that is why the micro credentials are very important, because these people at that age will not be able to leave or take even a sabbatical or something and go to a university or a college and there learn what their company actually needs and then come back. This kind of possibility as of now doesn't seem to be there. That is why they have to learn on the job, and that is why the micro credentials are very important. Enhance lifelong learning opportunity. That of course is very clear to us. Next slide. The difference between competency-based versus traditional learning. I'm sure all of you know already about it since you are already into the teaching profession. Quickly, I will, from my point of view, try to bring the differences between these two and why the competency-based learnings are more important now than the traditional learnings. Number one, the focus itself. Mastery of specific skill is possible in competency-based learning, whereas in the traditional learning we always used to cover a fixed curriculum. Now, going forward, we have to come out of it. The good thing is that UGC itself is now focusing on this part, and they have already sent circulars saying that change your curriculum and make it more skill-based. If it becomes skill-based, then it can also further be made competency-based. What we last saw in one of the circular from the UGC is that a student at a UG level has to study 40 credits equivalent of the curriculum in 1 year, and of that up to 30 credits equivalent can be converted into skill-based. They also suggested that you should at least start with 12 credits in a year. So anything between 12 to 30 you can start, but the aim should be to reach 30 credits which are skill-based, which I think is a very, very positive step forward to make some significant change in the education system of our country. Second is the assessment. The frequent and varied assessment, the formative assessments in case of competency-based, but traditional learning, we are still doing that periodic summative assessments, maybe once a year or sometimes once in a 6 months, which I think should change, and going forward, we will have no choice but to change that. Learning path, in case of competency, it is personalized, tailored to individual needs, whereas in traditional it was uniform, predetermined sequence, which is not working anymore. What you need is to teach to the person what he or she needs, because there is a very important role or increasing role of the informal education. We cannot just believe that whatever we taught to this person in the previous module or in the previous class, the person only knows that much. No, there is a lot of knowledge being created and being made available to the society at large through all these social media platforms, all these internet platforms. We know we were told that about 500 hours equivalent of videos are being uploaded on YouTube every minute in the country, in the globe. So if that is the kind of knowledge which is being created and being made available to the people, obviously there is a very big component of informal learning which is happening. So we have to make the learnings also personalized and tailor-made to the individual needs, and not very standard or very uniform to everyone in the class or in the batch. Pacing also, the socio-economic conditions in the country are changing. People are not really working on 9 to 5 jobs. There is a component of work from home now. There are gig economy which is taking place. So because of that, we have to now make these contents available to the people when they are available for learning. It should be student-centered and not really the teacher-centered. It's not about when we want to teach them, they have to come to the class. It is about when they are available, we have to reach out to them and we have to teach them, or we have to at least facilitate them to study when they are available for study. The outcome, we now talk about mastery, because just the progress will not help. That is not going to take care of the job requirement of somebody if he or she only knows something about it or little bit about it. Now we are heading towards the era of mastery. So the person has to become master of something, even if he or she knows only about one topic or 2 topics or 3 topics, but they should be expected to know everything about that and not a little bit of everything. So these are the changes happening, and that is why the competency-based modules are very, very important, and those are possible to be imparted to the employees at large only through the micro-credentials, because those people are already working and they cannot leave their jobs and come back to the educational institutes. Now, what's the kind of change happening? And here, purposely, I'm giving the example of a manufacturing industry. Everybody talks about changing happening in the IT industry. Everybody knows about chat GPT and things which are very disruptive in nature now. But since I have worked for the manufacturing industry for a very long time, the example here is of how this was happening, how the manufacturing shop floor used to be seen a few years before. And while I have said shop floor of the future, but in fact in some of the companies, particularly the multinational companies, the large multinational companies, it is almost a present. Many of the shop floors of the large companies are actually being seen like this, as we can see in the second picture. So we don't see many people there. In fact, we see hardly anybody there. There are, of course, people behind the scene, but the key jobs are now being done by the robots and not by the people. So earlier, we used to have 3 or 4 people managing one machine or one operation. Now we have one robo managing 4 or 5 operations. In other words, 4 or 5 machines. And perhaps you only need one person to manage multiple robots. You don't even need one person for one robo. One person can take care of 4, 5, 10 robots, because the intervention required is now almost non-existent on a regular basis, or it is very little. So now if the shop floor of a manufacturing company has to change from, let us say, the picture above to the picture below, obviously the job content, the skills necessary from those individuals who are working in the shop floors will change. People have to now learn from how to screw or unscrew, let us say, a particular device there, as we can see somebody doing there in the to how to manage a robo, which are usually controlled by the computers. So that is the kind of shift which is happening. So if these people do not learn using micro credentials, that's the only option they have in effect. If they don't learn that, then they become unfit to work on the shop floor of future. So it is as real as that. It is not only about just talking or listening, because we have used to of saying AI will change a lot of things and a lot of jobs will go away and the job roles itself will get eliminated, new jobs will come, jobs of futures will come. So we have become sick of hearing these kind of things in every discussion in the industry, in the academia and all the other other forums also, whether these are the forums created by the industry associations or national, international forums or whatever. But this is real now. We have to believe that it is not only about talking, it is not that somebody else's job will get affected. It is our own jobs, it is the job of our own people, our own departments is going to change, and we have to look at it very, very seriously now, that how do we facilitate these people to learn newer skills, and in some cases even the job roles which don't even exist, the new kind of job roles are being created, and for that the new sets of the skills are being defined. In fact, those skills don't even perhaps exist, and those are to be now defined, and then there somebody has to develop the curriculum, and then somebody has to prepare the master trainers for that, and those are to be taught to these people for them to just survive. For growth and other things, of course, you have to do that in a very, very different level. Coming to the role of industry partnership, real world insights and experiences are only possible if the academics work with the industry, without which, as it has been happening for too long in our country and many other countries, that the academicians and these practitioners work in silos. That will not work anymore. The real world insights and experiences, if those are not available to the academicians, if the teachers are not exposed to those things, they will have very little to do in the classroom, because all along what we were teaching to the students, now most of that is already available to them through Google and other platforms. So they are not coming now to learn from us what is already published through the internet or through the books or whatever. They are now coming to us to know what is not there available to them through the internet. So which means that we have to now work with the industry people, the practitioners, learn from them what is happening today in the industry, bring that knowledge and skills, and that should be then only we can make the class interesting for our students. Access to cutting edge technology and practices, of course, that is only possible if we work with the industry partners. Opportunities for guest lectures and expert sessions, very, very important. Earlier we were only talking about it much, that somebody from an industry can come and deliver a guest lecture or an expert session. Now it is not something which we can do if we want, and we can ignore it if we don't want. That is not the state now. It is now must, because unless these people come, they interact with the faculty, they interact with the students, the knowledge from the industries will not reach to the classroom, which is becoming more important than ever. And then, of course, if we work with industry partners, we also have the possibilities of doing some collaborative research and development projects. This is happening very well, as we know, in Americas. This is happening very well in a large part of Europe, but we in India are not able to do this much, because for too long the academicians and the practitioners have been living in silos. They are not talking to each other. When we come to the industry, when the people come for interviews, because I have the experience of interviewing thousands of people over the 25 years I worked with Bosch, many a times it is very normal for us from the industry to blame the academicians and say that your people or your institute or your teachers didn't even teach you that when these guys come for the interview. I think it's also the other way. When we talk to the academicians, they also say that it is the industry who is going to employ them. You are the ones who are going to benefit them from their services and from their talent. So why don't you do something to upskill them or train them or collaborate with us? So we have been in a mode of fault finding or blaming each other. The time will not allow that anymore. We have to now work together. We have to collaborate with each other, and then only we will be able to do some justice with our jobs. Coming to the specific benefits for the educators, the benefits in the earlier slide were more for the students, but when we talk about the benefits to the educators, stay current with industry trends and demands. That is what a student would now expect the teacher, the educator, the professor to be knowing about what is happening currently in the industry, what are the trends and what are the demands of today. They will not be interested in if a teacher try to transfer the available knowledge either with him or her or in some of the very famous books which were very popular in the past. Those kind of things, if the teacher try to do now, the students will say, I already have access to that. I have already possibly gone through it even before coming to the class. So educators have to stay current with the industry trends and demands if they want to build a career going forward in the teaching. If they want to command some respect from the students, it is very, very important. Develop relevant and practical curriculum. Most of our curriculum, unfortunately, in the country is still not practical. It is still theory-based. We focus so much on the definitions and theories and other things and very little on the practical. So this is not going to work anymore. If something is not making sense in the practical life, in day-to-day life of the individual, they will not be interested in learning. Sometimes even people like me wonder that as a kid I spent so much of time in learning the geometry, in learning the theorems and learning many other things, and since I never worked in the IT industry, I never seem to have used of that skill in any of my job role even until my retirement. So should we really spend time, efforts, energy and money in teaching that kind of a knowledge to these students? Perhaps not anymore. So let us make it relevant to their job careers and to the society needs, and let us make something which can actually be practiced. We are in a country where very little of the research, even at the PhD level, is being used for practical purposes. Most of part of the research, even at the doctorate level, is being bound in the thesis forms and lying in the university libraries or elsewhere, and very little come out of it which can benefit the society. I think that has to change. About relations and connections in between the two, that is academia and industry, I think there is no question about it that it will work the way it is. It will not work. It has to become very strong. And since I come from the industry side, I would say that the first step in this direction, if it can be taken by the academia, will be more practical, more useful, rather than waiting that somebody from industry will come and take the first step. Gone are the days when we will only be waiting for these companies to come for the campus placement and before that maybe very rarely we interact with them for some kind of an internship requirement. Since for many years in Bosch I was also heading the internship part, I observed that the people from the universities or the colleges will not in fact directly approach us in the industry. They shift this responsibility to the students that you find the internship. I can only give you some kind of a letter saying that yes, you are a student of my college or university, but the internship opportunity you only have to go and look for in the market. And students, since they don't know anybody in the industry, most likely they shift that responsibility to their parents, and then those parents will approach us through somebody or the other who is mutually known, and this is how this internship gets materialized. Unfortunately, this is not going to work anymore like this. These have to be led by the professors, by the teachers, by the academicians. They have to talk to the people in the industry, tell them why this kind of an internship opportunity given to a student will be of mutual benefit, mutual interest, not only to the student, also to the industry, and to some extent also to the institute. So unless there is a win-win situation for all, these stronger connections or relations between the industry and academia cannot be built. Next part is about enhancing the employability and skills relevance. This is also very important. We need to focus on skills and the skill-based curriculum, practical curriculum, internship and apprenticeship opportunity, which I have already mentioned already. We have to make the system very strong. Not that we receive some circular from the UGC or from the university headquarters in the college and say, yes, now the education department or the education ministry wants us to do more and more internship, maybe of the shorter duration, but it is not only for the final year students. We also have to involve now the pre-final year or even the second year, first year students also in the internship. That is not going to solve this problem. We have to build these internship very strongly into the curriculum and get an buy-in from the industry that they will be providing the opportunities to the students when they come to their factories, their campuses, their offices. Of course, if the teaching is relevant, if the relevant skills are taught to the students, the job placement rates will become better, stronger, and the development of relevant skill set continuously will only happen if we have some base to start. If we have no base, no discussion is possible. In fact, what can be done? So we need to create a base between industry, academia, and then develop the relevant skill sets continuously. So these are the things which have been put up in a very simple form here, but these are very important. We will now come to a small case study where some of the work has been done by a quite dynamic small non-profit organization called Reach Much Higher. I happen to be the chief advisor of the company, and my interest always has been on how to make the education skill-based. So we'll go through a small case study here, and this is about how the world of work, either it is currently there or it is likely to change. So many things are changing in the world of work. That means you need different capabilities for different roles through different people in an organization. Somebody has to then convert those capabilities into digital credentials and something which can make sense also on the paper and also on the discussions when we talk with the educators and with the students. And once they start making sense, then the modules have to be designed and assessment of the evidence of learning, evidence of skill. We have to also make a system through which the learned skills can be assessed. So this, I think, is a fantastic way of putting the module designs by Commonwealth of Learning, and in fact with credit I have taken this slide from them. Now coming to the actual development of the modules. So we're talking about relevance, we're talking about practicality, we're talking about also the facilitation to the students from all the stakeholders involved. So these are some of the micro credentials which have been developed by this small organization called Reach Much Higher, along with the Rotary International. The first topic is on career counseling and guidance. As we know, in a country like ours, about 92% of the youth exit from the education system by the time they reach 12th, or most of them, when they should be in the college, are actually out of the education system. So only 8% youth have the opportunity. Approximately the number may be increasing a little bit now. Maybe it may become 9% or 10%, but only this much percentage of the students are going for higher education. So one question is that these youth who have gone out of the education system for various reasons, either they were academically poor, or they were financially poor, or they didn't have an academic institution nearby their place, or there may be many other socio-economic reasons for them not to be able to go for higher education. So for them also we need to do some kind of a career counseling and guidance, and of course this is equally important also for the youth who have got into the higher education. It's equally important for both. So first thing for an educator is to, as each one of these youth who come to us are looking for some kind of a job opportunity, that is the main reason, at least for majority of them, to come to us. So first foremost we need to define in which domain they can get a job once they complete their degree. So it is not a topic of discussion when they are in their final semesters. This should be a topic of discussion when they enter into the education. So what kind of job they will be doing? Of course, some lead will come out from the counseling sessions, and then these people can at least decide whether I am good for dealing with people, I am good for dealing with machines, whether I should become somebody who is going to work with the car technology or with information technology industry, or I will be working in a hospital, or I will be working with as an educator or something. So whether you work with people or machines, or what you really enjoy doing, those kind of things have to come out from the career counseling. And then first focus of an educator should be to skill them, to train them, to give them more knowledge on that particular domain. And while this domain skills is important from the theoretical point of view, so that they understand the industry and the job role, it is also very important that they are given an opportunity for on-the-job training. So they should be linked with the industry, the local industries which are available. Part of the learning should happen on the job. So with the domain skills and on-the-job training, these people will become employable in certain kind of jobs. So this possibly can take care of their today as they come out of the education system. Then we all talk about the digital literacy and global citizenship. Global citizenship look a big word, but it's actually not big, because we already know now there are people whom we know who are working in the global teams. So for somebody, the boss is sitting somewhere in Europe or America, and for somebody their team members are sitting in some other countries. So if we have to work in that kind of an environment, we of course have to learn about the culture of those countries, and we need to learn more about our own department people, our own team members. If you don't know them, we cannot manage them, and if you can't manage them, we can't manage business. And digital literacy, I think we all know how important it is working going forward. I did not spend more time on that. What is also very important is the personal attributes, you can call them as attitudes and behaviors. So personal attributes and behaviors are very important. Many of us do not recognize the need of it when the students are there in the college, because we have become so much syllabus focused, so much exam focused, that whatever is there in the books or whatever is there is going to come into the exam. Let us talk only about it. That is what the student is interested in. That is what most of the parents are interested in. And that is why we educators also more or less try to align ourselves with that. But no, what we talk about here in the personal attributes and behaviors are topics like ethics, integrity, taking responsibility, punctuality, love for work, following the rules in the country, attitude of gratitude. So these are the topics which are equally important. I would say not equally, I would say even more important than others to be taught while the students are with us. We must build these kind of micro credentials in our curriculum. If we don't teach them these things now, when these people will go in the industry and become some decision makers at some stage, some of them will start heading the departments, and a few of them may even become the CEOs of the company. So when they start taking the decisions, and if they don't look at the ethical side of it, if they don't look at the sustainability side of it, what kind of decisions they will be taking and what will finally happen as a result of their decisions, we all can very easily imagine. Social leadership skills. One of the circular from UGC also talked about 2 credit equivalent internship in villages in the rural India by the students, so that the students can learn about what kind of challenges, what kind of problems we in the country have. So the social skills plus the social leadership topics both have been built into this micro credential. Then there is a social internship, which is also equally important to do an internship with some kind of an NGO or any other social organization, so that the people can clearly see where our development sector is heading towards, what they are currently doing, with about 27,000 crore rupees being available every year as CSR from the industry, how that money is being spent and how that money should actually be spent. We also talk about entrepreneurial mindset. It is not about entrepreneurial skills alone. It is about mindset, which means that not only those who are going to start their own company and hoping that this company will someday become big. We talk about this startup culture and then innovation and then unicorns and all that. We are not talking of that so much. What we are talking is that these youth, whether they go for their own business or they go in a wage employment, in both cases they need to have an entrepreneurial mindset if they want to grow. Even when you are working for a salary, your mindset must be entrepreneurial if you want to take higher responsibilities going forward. That is what this micro credential talks about. Then it is about future skills. We know the various forums of the industry talk about the skills of future, which means that how you are going to manage yourself, how you are going to manage your people in your department or your peers, how you are going to manage your business or work, and how you are going to manage the technology, to handle the technology. Not that all of us are going to work into the IT departments. We will work in our normal departments, whatever it is, but since IT, the information technology, is going to affect the working of each one of us, so we at least need to know how to handle the technology part. Example, at one time people were not very conversant with the MS Office, they didn't want to learn but now the MS Office has become a part of our life without which we can't even manage. I'm sure things like Chat GPT and going forward even the generative AI, etc. are going to become the same for us, and each one of us will have no choice but to learn them in time. So these are some of the micro credentials which have been designed keeping the need of these youth in a way that they can become immediately employable based on their domain knowledge and skill. That means in what job role they get the job. They learn about digital literacy, they learn about right type of behaviors and attitudes, and the other things which I mentioned. I think it's already almost 45 minutes, so I do not know how much more time will be available, and if the time permits, we would also like to take some questions from you. So let me try to wind it up as soon as I can. Steps to design a micro-credential. I'm sure this must have been covered in one of your topics already, or somebody else may be going to cover it as an expert. First, we have to define the learning objectives. Then, of course content to be developed as per that. We must check whether these are relevant to the industry or not. Practical application has to be at the forefront, without which there is no point developing any micro-credential. Prerequisite and entry requirement must be defined for that. Duration and time commitment should be also defined. We should, as far as possible, include the interactive videos. Support and resources must be very clearly mentioned as to what they can look for in terms of the support and from whom once they have any challenges. Credentials and certification should also be very well defined, and we must have a system of tracking and analysis. Coming to back to the micro credentials which I just mentioned in the previous slide, this is how the credit allocation or the number of hours of the teaching have been defined. Digital literacy and global citizenship, 15 hours of classroom teaching and 30 hours of practical. As per the NEP 2020, as we all know, for one credit, either you have to undergo 15 hours of a classroom training or double of that time if you are into the field of practical. So here we are saying one credit from classroom and one credit from the field. So this becomes a 2 credit program of digital literacy and global citizens. Future skills is again the same, 1 credit in the classroom and 1 credit in the field. Personal attributes and behavior also the same, 1 credit classroom and 1 credit field. When it comes to the social leadership and rule internship, because it is going to be more time spent into the field, so that's why 45 hours of the field work, which means 1.5 credit in the field and 1 credit in the class. Domain skills have to be focused, because without which you don't get immediate job. That is why here 2 credit in the classroom and 1.5 credit into the practice. So total it is about 6 credit here and 6 there, 12 credit. So this is how it has, these micro credentials have been defined. I think given the time available, this is what we could talk about. We'll be happy to take some questions if anyone of you have.
Good morning, good afternoon, sir. My name is good afternoon, sir. My name is Dr. P. Gopal Vishnu.
Yes, doctor.
I want to ask two questions. That what are the principles and objectives a university should adopt to really develop a skill-based course? Is the first question, and second question is that can a industry help to develop the labs, means skill-based labs or incubation centers? Means how can industry help to develop a skill-based lab and incubation centers?
Your name, please, and from which organization you come, if you can help me with that.
From Madhya Pradesh Board University.
Right. Oh, very good. I think this is the question which we have been hearing in every discussion. Maybe the words sometimes can change, but the meaning is always the same. Number one, what can industry do for us? And when we talk about what industry can do for us, we think about basically 2 or 3 things. One of them is, can they set up labs in our institute? Can they support some kind of an incubation? Can they hire people from our campus? Based on my 25 years in Bosch, and prior to that I also worked for Bajaj Auto almost for about 9 to 10 years, I don't see that possibility for all the institutes or for most of the institutes. Very few, very rare, some institutes possibly can get this benefit, and those institutes are more which have a brand name like IIT or some of the NITs, and they also do not get the support from the industry at large here. They get the support from their alumni who have already reached to a certain level in the company. Some of them have become CEOs, etc., and they are working abroad and they have the money at their disposal. So when we talk about industry academia collaboration, I think we'll have to change the definition, and we have to also change perhaps also the wordings with that as to how will we approach the industry. Our intent is to make the youth employable and industry ready. So how do we make these youth employable and industry ready? That should be the discussion, and not about whether you will come and set up a lab in my institute or not. Let me tell you, there are, and you know that perhaps better than me, since you all of you are academicians, there are about 1100 odd, 1130 odd universities in the country. About 300 plus are being run by the government, and more than 700 are now being run by the private people. Majority of them are state universities. We have 52,000 colleges in the country. So, who from which college will not be interested in having a lab from an industry? But how many industries we have who can actually set up these labs? So, we certainly cannot cover all the colleges or all the universities. Then the question will always come that why not mine and why somebody else? I think instead of getting into that, if we can focus on our collaboration should be on making the youth employable. Let's have an open discussion. Let's not go with some kind of a prerequisites or for some kind of a pre-expectation set on us. Have an open discussion and say, for making the youth employable, what will you do? What will I do? I'm sure there are lots of possibilities. I mean, I was heading this part in Bosch. I personally worked with at least 25 universities. We invited 25 vice chancellors of the private universities to Bosch in for a one-day workshop, and a lot of useful things came out as to, without campus placement, without setting up labs, etc., what more can be done by both the sides, which are very meaningful to the students. There are uh, lots of strengths available in the academia, and we don't talk about it mostly. Either we are not fully aware of it, or we don't talk when we go to the industry. The huge amount of infrastructure which is available with you, the huge amount of knowledge which is available with you, that is something which need to be talked about, how the industry can benefit from that. How can you jointly build the capacity through training of the trainers? How can your infrastructure be used? How can their expertise be used? I think those should be the topics of discussion, and not so much about whether you will bring your money and set up some kind of a lab in my institute or not, because setting up of a lab is actually the responsibility of the institute, and not of the industry. Industry can say, even if you have a basic lab setup or anything else, whatever you have, if you want next levels, level 2, 3, 4, 5, you come to me. I will provide some training, some input to your teachers or to your students, but I will not be able to commit huge investment in your institute per se. Is my an answer from my personal experience. Perhaps this was the answer to your second part of the question, and I don't think you would have liked it, but unfortunately, this is how the real world is. If you can please repeat your first question again, then I can also try and attempt to answer your first question.
Sir, what are the principles that a university should adopt to really develop a industrial oriented course? Means a institute should adopt.
See, lots of companies are interested now, and in fact, let me give you example of 2, 3 industries at least who are really struggling with getting the right kind of manpower. It is number one, the BFSI sector. The microfinance institutes also included in that. They need huge skilled trained manpower, and they don't know where to get it from. I think they can only get it from your campuses, nowhere else. And if you can have some discussion with some of the selected BFSI companies in your geography, And if you tell them, yes, we will devise the curriculum which is as per your needs, tell me what your needs are, bring your curriculum, also help me with some of your experts coming in and co-creating this curriculum with us, and then later also help us in getting your experts for some kind of an classes or a guest lectures, etc. to our students. I don't think any of these companies is going to say no if we approach it with them. So whether you call these as principles or approaches, but I think this is the way. If we approach industry, they will be very happy to come in, because you are then talking about solving their problem also through this, and not only solving the problem either of the institute or of the students alone. Second industry which need huge skilled manpower today is retail. All these malls and all these, earlier big bazaars are now of course taken over by Reliance, but Stars, Spars and all these brands need a lot of people, and they are not getting. So if you co-create some kind of a curriculum with these top retail companies, I'm sure they will be very happy coming forward on this. The third industry I can name is the hotel industry after the COVID. During COVID, they had no business to do. All the hotels and the airlines industry almost was closed down, actually. But now these hotels, this industry has now, hospitality industry has now opened up again, and many of them need people, and they need skilled people, of course. If you want to, since most of you come from the universities, particularly from the open universities, my feeling is that you will have little more flexibility of making your courses vocational based or skill based than the other traditional universities, where perhaps the rigidity may be a little bit more. So in your case, if you can design some courses with the help of the industry, which can help these three industries I said, but these are not only three, there are many. Or there are people who come from the pharmaceutical industry, and they need a lot of these MRs, the medical representatives, they don't get. Earlier they always wanted to have only the BSc medical students for this. Now they don't get any. Then they said, okay, BSc Math will also do if biology is not there. They are also not available now. Now they started taking BComs and BAs also as MRs. So if we can help them in training their people, they will be happy to help us in developing their curriculum, and also in providing us some kind of an expertise through their trainers or through their experts available in that. So I'm not sure whether I have answered your question fully. If something is left, please ask once again.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Any other? Not able to hear. If anybody is wanting to ask a question, yes, please. Introduce yourself.
Sir, I am Pranab Saikia.
Yes.
I'm the Professor of Education and Dean Study Center, Krishnakant Pandit, State Open University, Guwahati.
Yes, sir.
Sir, recently we are developing a course on geriatric care.
Yes, very important.
For NCVT recognition purpose.
Yes.
And we have contacted many nursing homes and other NGOs who are running health services.
Yes.
But regarding the essential component of internship,
Yes.
all are demanding money for internship. They want to go for a MOU where they are emphasizing that when we are deputed our students for internship to their respective nursing homes, hospitals, or other services, they demand money per students. That is one problem regarding skill courses for our educational institution to run. From your experience, can you guide us how to solve this particular problem of internship?
So I'm actually a little surprised to know this because from my understanding it should be the other way around. Actually the students who are going there, they should be paid some stipend by these organizations rather than these organizations asking for money. From my personal experience, when I was heading CSR in Bosch Group, during COVID, when we had, in between some stages, when there's between, let's say, first wave and second wave, we had some breathing space, and between second wave and third wave, there was some time available. We wanted to train about 1,000 caregivers. So we designed a curriculum as a part of our CSR, and of course we had quite a few centers where the basic training could be done, but we did not have any nursing colleges as in the part of our network. We approached some of the nursing colleges and told them, yes, if there is any kind of a maintenance cost or something for our students coming and learning from your labs, we will look at it, but otherwise they will not pay anything per student to you, and we will also not obviously pay you anything like that. Maintenance and all we can take care. I think most of them had agreed. We had also approached quite a few large hospitals, large chain of hospitals, starting from Apollo. Apollo was the first, but then we also went to Fortis and many others and told them that our students would also need an internship in your hospitals. And while we are not insisting that you pay them some kind of a stipend, of course, there is no question of they paying anything to you, but since this some kind of trained manpower who have earlier been trained in our centers on theory, and they have also been trained by these nursing colleges, on some of the practical aspects, these people will be coming to you and they will be contributing to your work and your business. I'm sure if one of your senior person can get one of an assistant from our program, our students, your work will obviously can be done much better or more. So I think we never came across this challenge that these people are asking for money, because we showed them the value. So I think it is a question of showing them the value as to how they can benefit from this whole collaboration, and this value always goes more than the hard cash. It starts with hard cash. People start thinking what I will get, what will be expected from me to be given. But if we can create value, if you are talking of value which is much higher than the hard cash, I think this paying and giving money part is not such a big issue. I think it can be taken care. Professor, this I'm telling you from my own personal experience.
Sir, good afternoon. Myself, Dr. Bhaskar Sharma from Krishnakanta Hendricks State Open University.
Which university, sir?
Sir, Krishnakanta Hendricks State Open University, Guwahati.
Guwahati. Yes, yes, yes.
So the UG and PG programs we are running, we are having 4 credits. This is as per our ADP guidelines and also as per UGC guidelines. But the course credits you have just shown in the presentation, it's of 12 credits. So at the one hand, we are talking about the micro credentials, but the credits you have assigned is actually 3 times of a regular course. So I am not finding to able to relate it actually, how to do that.
So I am not saying that these 12 credits have to be incorporated in all the program just like that. That's not the intent. What I said was that we can start with micro credentials even within the first topic of, let's say, counseling and guidance, what I said. I'm not saying that these 12 credits for all the students have to be compulsorily incorporated. You can pick up whichever part you think is relevant, and only that micro credential can be incorporated in the curriculum is what I'm saying. And it is not always necessary that it has to be a part of the curriculum. You can also offer this as an elective if there is a provision in the rules, and even for the elective also there is no provision. You can always offer them as an add-on, because these skills are to be learned if the person has to become employable. There is no question about it. If the university has not made any provision of incorporating these kind of micro credentials in the curriculum, then I think we have to talk to the authorities in the university, and we have to tell them the industry's perspective as to why this is important. We know that our system is not really the best system available in the world, and it is not fully suitable to the industry, and that is why we have the discussions like this, that there is something need to change. We are not here to fit everything in the existing framework. If we try to fit everything in that, perhaps nothing much will change. I think we have to sometimes also question our own assumptions, our own systems, and we have to talk also with some of our seniors who are at the decision making level as to why these things have to change. But please don't think that I am advocating that all these 12 credits of about 270 hours, etc., have to be incorporated just like that. No, this is an ideal situation where perhaps one can start from the first year, and until the student complete either the degree final year or even the PG final year, these can be spread across. And what I'm saying is that if some student has learned all these skills through all these micro credentials. By the time they complete their bachelor or PG and they come to the industry for a job, they will easily get a job, is what I'm trying to say.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
That was the clarification. Yes. Any other questions, sir? Ladies, anyone?
Yeah, no question again, I suppose.
Okay. Is Dr. Shadrack also in the class or somewhere?
He just left us. He
Okay.
just left.
He was there with us?
No, sir, he just left.
No, he was there earlier. He was in the class. I couldn't see him, in fact.
He just left.
For some part of it, he was here, is it?
Yes, sir.
Oh, all right. Yes. So back to you if there are no questions.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and enlightening us that industry collaboration need to be there for developing all this micro credential. And we also look forward to your support in all the open universities to have the successful micro credential courses. Thank you.
Very happy, madam. I told in the beginning, I am a product of open education system. Without that, I would have been nothing. I did my MBA from IGNOU, and then later I did my PhD from one of the other open university. So I have so much of respect for this open education system. It can really change, the things drastically on the ground. So I also have my colleague from, in fact, two of the colleagues from Reach Bachar, whom I advise on these micro credentials and other things. One Mr. Sitesh Bharti, perhaps you can see here, and another one is Mr. Prabhu A.R. So please feel free to reach out either to me or any one of them who can help you in providing more details about these micro credentials. If you think that those are of use, we'll be very happy to work with you on that. Thank you.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I think I'll hand over the session back to Sushmana ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. I think somebody is quite active on the LMS, following very strictly. I just sent a message to download the presentation as template, because that will be handy for you tomorrow to present also what you have done. You already did template 1, almost to template 2. Why there are two similar kind of a table in 1 and 2 is because when you are filling it up in the first day, yesterday, the assessment strategy, like what you have in your mind, what you had and what you have now. Because you might have gone in depth about micro-credentials. Now you might have been thinking about transformative way rather than transferring. I want to quote here Dr. Indra Koneru's statement. She always says that not to be think about transferring a traditional course to a digital course. Think about transformation, not just transfer. So we have to, that might have happened from yesterday's thinking to today's when you're talking about the assessment levels and techniques and strategies. We'll get little more. We'll discuss on that. So I think somebody sounded tea, but I think that will come here, I believe. So let us continue. We have a very short time and determination. I know everybody is like, let's do footage man mein ki chalo chai pe jayenge, but then chai will come here. Let us continue. Yeah, I'm sorry for that. And there is one template shared with you all, a short one, on my sourcing open educational resource. So let us do that small activity, and also there is a Padlet. Why a Padlet and why you are asking me to do in 2 ways? Again, an example that how to make anything learning or the work we do a sustainable model. For example, this LMS is a very temporary one that we created for this workshop, right? So tomorrow it won't be there. And what happens to all your work? That should be somewhere there. Our digital footprint should be there with your names and with your inputs. And then that could be one of the guides that where TNOU can submit as with an open license that, okay, these are the 17 soft skills, OERs related to 17 soft skills. In one board, whiteboard, you can interactive whiteboard with all the links, with all your names. That is the Padlet activity. But before that, we'll just see a Tassel format activity there. You might have done in earlier Santa OER workshops. But today we will be more focusing on sourcing
soft skills OER, because you might have already ready with one of the 17 soft skills, right? So you name it and let us source it in the Chrome, and also I'll do a small demo in a YouTube or even a interactive activities or for a open textbooks. And then as a teacher, as a facilitator of the course, it's up to you. As of now, just think, forget about what happens after going to the university and all. Just as an individual, think that how to source, how to use, and do you think that, because 40% of your material of the course could be your OER, right? Because you'll be working on in both NCVT and UGC guidelines together. So definitely 40% of it couldn't be OER. So think in those lines. Try to figure out and find source OER for one of your, whatever the skill you identified to develop a course on, and then think about how you want to use it. Okay, so that is the thing. And the third template, I think I have to connect it. So if you see that template too, yeah. The first thing is, I think we stopped near exactly at a slide where what is the process of searching for OER, right? There are three things. That is, first you have to identify a keyword or a phrase. It's always good to have a keyword than a phrase. A phrase is more than a word, right? Like if it is that so, then you have to put it in quotes and search for that. If it is a keyword, it's always easy to search, and then follow certain search techniques. Can I? What? Okay. But why it is so small? So small. You have to make the increase. It's difficult to view, right? Now? Yeah. Okay. First, let us try it out in the Chrome browser. Any soft skill about, like yesterday, effective leadership or something like that. Okay. Because it is a phrase, let's keep it in quotes. Okay. Okay, now there is earlier there used to be an option on the right hand side, and now it is, that's why that upskilling is always required, even searching for over here. This is a more and tools option. Okay, there is a tools option. You click on the tools and you will see advanced search. Or directly you can go to google.com or .in and all /advanced search, advanced_search, and then you will see this table here. Is it visible? Or you can do along with me. And the last option is here, usage rights. It's always good to choose free to use or share or even commercially to get really narrow down and to get really good sources, or otherwise you can always experiment with all of them, because as I said, searching is an iterative process. Okay, let me go back. I'm searching in a regular browser. I open my search engine in the Chrome browser, and I type my phrase in quotes because there are two words, so that I can narrow it down. And then I have an option here, tools, on the right hand side. Can you see? Yeah. And here is the advanced search option. When you click on the tools, you will see this advanced search, and then you land on this page, and there is a usage rights option, the last option there, and choose one of them. Let's do the advanced search.
and we cannot really depend on the results that we get. That sometimes that may not be over here also. It's always a best practices. You click on the link, you go there, and you check the license deed, click on the tassel format, and read the deed. Okay. And sometimes what happens is when you know the repositories, for example, human learning, definitely it is over here. But then we don't know the license what it is. So let's click on that. What makes an effective leader? Or any of you are searching with your own phrases? Okay. So this is as part of this principles of management. Okay, course. And then let us see licenses and attributions. Here it is. So it is a more accommodative license, isn't it? Sometimes what happens is part of it will be openly licensed, part of it not. We have to identify, we have to read. And sometimes when you know the repository where to search, for example, we search now directly in the ocean. Let us, no, I just searched with the phrase and then I chose an option of advanced research. I chose even commercially, and luckily I got human learning. Maybe my algorithms were like that it always runs around OE repositories, and immediately I got it. But others may take a little more time unless you are practicing. Okay, so this is like we are searching. One second, I'll come, ma'am. This is like searching in an ocean, right? Ocean of information. But then there are right now a lot of repositories. Earlier there used to be a special OER search engines they developed. They're still existing. And but there are some other, when you know certain for higher education, certain repositories are really good, from your MIT OpenCourseware to OER Commons to Merlot to Pressbooks directory to, so we can go to directly, or OpenStax, we can directly get on to the repository and search for it with the filters option. That's another great way of finding faster. Yes, madam. Yeah, I took a free to share even and reuse even commercially. I took that option. So you can always experiment with all the other options, and then you could figure out and you maintain a chart or a table that you found all these with this license, and then whichever is the best, you can, let's put it in the table format. First, let us see all the options, how to search. Then I'll fill the table along with you. So then you can do that same activity. Then we'll get on to Padlet. So now, let's directly search in Pressbooks directory. Pressbooks is open source software to create open textbooks. And there is a Pressbooks directory is already available, and where on a subscription basis, many universities are subscribed. It's, of course, it's a heavily charged. So if you have a capability and the resources, you can have your own platform because it's an open source. If you have an environment, you can just run it and load it and plug it. You have your own open source. And you can create a collaborate. It's a beautiful, wonderful tool set. Pressbooks is an open source software to develop open textbooks, collaborative open textbooks. Open source, it's free. Yeah. यानी कि 2-3, अगर आप 3 chapters लिखना चाहते हैं, you can do it. You can do it. Yeah, you can do that. That's what we are going to do now. हाँ, गूगल क्रोम में कैसा करेंगे, नहीं तो बिंग में भी ऐसा ही ऑप्शन होगा, कोई भी ब्राउजर में जाके सर्च कर सकते हैं. And then other option is going to any repository. There are many repositories. One of them is Pressbooks directory. Let's search Pressbooks directory. I'm just showing you, demoing you all the options. I mean, some of the options, maybe we can call it. So I'm searching directly in the Pressbooks directory, and there are options here. Find a book. Okay, you have filters option. That's the beauty of various repositories. You can use filters to search. Even any open textbook with interactive activities also you can search for. You can apply certain filters to narrow your search. Okay, so now let me search what was the effective leadership. Last night I was searching for most of the soft skills OERs. I could really come up with a very good list. Then I thought, okay, let's do the same exercise here. See, one book is about leadership in early care and education. Okay, revised version of it, Principles of Management for Leadership Communication. So you can choose, you can get onto it. First, let us check this one, Principles of Management for Leadership Communication. That's what objective, that's what the first thing, competency, objective, and the title. You first decide on that. Then we'll decide on assessment strategy. Then map. But it can go parallelly. It is an agile process where it can go parallelly. When you have a time, when you know that whichever is the topic that you're going to develop, maintain a directory, have them ready, and then plug and play. Okay, this is, now you know the license, what you can do with this, right? Can we use it? Yeah, share alike. Like when we use it, if you don't directly use it, just use it as it's. Or, yeah, non-commercial, share alike. And there is also option to download this book as an e-publication or a PDF or a print PDF option. Sometimes what they do is they don't give you a download option. They'll ask you to pay to really have a hard copy of it. That's one business model that they run. Some universities. You cannot. No. It is illegally bound. Yeah. Anybody can sue you with that if you use that. I mean, without a written permission from the author. No, it's the same like your DJ Pathashala. You can go and check there what is the license that they have given. NPTEL, yes, I could see very prominently, and even on a spoken tutorials, if I'm not wrong. Not sure. Not sure. आप जाके एक बार उसका license read करिए. They say that it is open. Maybe somewhere it is mentioned. I'm not sure because prominently I don't see it like this. Whatever we are seeing now. See, this is what a TASL format, right? Or you can remix and you can republish some of those materials, but then following the guidelines. So this is the title, Principles of Management for Leadership Communication. There is also a link to it, right? TASL formation is there. What is the copyright? It is mentioned. Who is the author? Sometimes it could be an individual author. Sometimes it could be an institution. So it is an institution. Sometimes it differs. Like Minnesota, University of Minnesota is licensed under so and so. Sometimes if it is a collection in one of the chapters, so it's entirely the same license. That's why, see, they clearly mentioned this statement. I don't know why I'm not able to sell it, except where otherwise noted. So why it is necessary to write that is sometimes we may use other licensed materials with an attribution over the openly licensed. Copyright of what? Creative Commons attribution. The C is there by Minnesota and owns with Creative Commons license. So it is Creative Commons also works a legal binding. It's also a right, but authorship is given to you, right? You are an author or a Minnesota year. Sometimes we may find individual authors' textbooks. Let us see that. See, let us filter from the license. Let us see if we have any CC0. No. Public domain? No. Let us see the. Oh wow. No, but. And there are also some all rights reserved to books. No. Okay. When I say CC by SA, it's about accessibility here. One of the chapter might be inside this with the leadership, effective leadership. Or we can directly search in other repository. Any name of any other repository? For your repositories? MITB, huh? OpenStax, MIT, yeah. Sir, you are saying something? Africa over here. Yeah. And have you ever tried peer reviewing a textbook inside a OpenStax? Did? Because you all have your institutional ID, you can log in, you can register yourself because it will ask you an evidence that you belong to a university. You can log into OpenStax using your university ID, and you can be a contributor, or you, as a peer review, collaborate globally with someone to peer review a textbook. Please explore that option in OpenStax. Yeah, there is a authoring platforms available, sir. Like one of them is OER Commons or a Megalot, but they have their own. No, directly you can publish in OER Commons, but then in OpenStax they will validate, no doubt about it. And you have to first collaborate, and you have to submit, and there's a process there. You can explore. Because I don't have any institutional ID as of now, I cannot log into it. And the other repository, MIT courseware can be done. Let us see OER Commons also. I'm just exploring kind of repositories and showing you the options. Okay. So, communication skills. You can also use various filters here in OER Commons again. Again, in OER Commons, the beauty of this platform is not only you can network, you can create hubs and groups. You can create together like a hub of open universities, a hub you can create, and you can create groups of each university there, and then you can start contributing in the platform itself. You don't have to think that my institute should have a platform to share over your classes. Please explore how to author it. We are not exploring right now how to authoring it. We are just exploring. Yes. So these are all the various options with various licenses. It is clearly given. You can click on the license deed and read about it, and you can repurpose, remix, and reuse. How about searching for videos? We can search in Vimeo, Panapto, or a YouTube option. For example, if I want to search for a TPAC, you are offline. Huh? Yes, and I'll just cover that topic also, how to see the licenses of interactive activities pertaining to HPIPs. It's up to you. If you are contributing from the institution, you should have a policy how to do that, what is the license, and then on what name you want to do it, you should have a guidelines. But this is a process that I am explaining. How you want to do it, I don't know why that is not implemented. The entire list is there, sir. In the OER repositories list is there. You simply search for OER repositories. Every university have the list. I'm just running diagnostics. Yes, you can follow that table. You download it and start searching for. Where is the license? Yeah, but what is the license? Write your own and as a PDF, what is the license given? Yeah, who wrote this? Okay. So you can explore these repositories. Explore. I also provided in the presentation. Yeah. Directory of Open Journal. Okay, let's open that. Now, yes, sir. What's that? I'm talking about platform. It's a platform to offer any courses. Any technical help here, please prepare to connect my Wi-Fi. Can you ask
Wi-Fi is not working. Coming up.
I know. I know. Sorry, participants, to disturb your tea time in your tea time. Ma'am just asked me to show in a YouTube also how to search creative farming videos. So leadership skills, that's what she was searching for. And we will be creating one interactive video after your tea, by the way. So for that, it's better if you can figure out a video also. And then there is an option on the right-hand side, filters. You click on the filters, you will see various filters here. One of them is Creative Commons. Then you can also use the duration filter because we are focusing on micro-learning. It could be a simple chunks. It is in YouTube platform. You can, in YouTube, we don't have an option to really filter out, figure out like what licensed options like other sites. But in Vimeo, you have an option to search for a video with a different Creative Commons licenses. Credits. Yeah. So now, and even the moment you get this, it doesn't mean that it is a OER, but of course this is from the organization endorses OER, so definitely it is a OER. So how do we know that? Ma'am is asking, how do we know that? When you click on more, you will see this link here, what license it is, but then it's always good idea to click on that to read the deed. Sometimes they write about the video here. These are the details that is given here, like about when you click, the details are given. Let's click on this link. And then you will see that CC BY and version. If you want to see, click on that and you land on the license deed page. You please read the license deed, what you can do with CC BY 3.0. Okay, and then Creative Commons site have all the details very well established for each and every license. That's what we did in a nutshell today. And coming to the image search, for example, we are doing an image search for open pedagogy. A wonderful resource, a repository for maybe images is OpenVerse also, Creative Commons research, that is called OpenVerse, OpenVerse. So if I want to search for images, and then there are options again, tools and usage rights. It's a Creative Commons, but it's always a good idea, or whenever you better click on the image if you think that it will suit this illustration. And then there is some rights reserved written here. So how do you add in the table what is the title and who is the author? And this is the author, Merso, and then whatever this book's print pedagogy is the title of the image, and some rights reserved. What are these rights? When we click on that, we landed on CC BY 2.0. So this is the license, CC BY 2.0 for this image, right? So you can utilize this if you want to create an interactive activity as a like content to deliver, or you want to use it in one of your textbooks. So you don't have to really create some reinventing the wheel, right? So you already have certain options from images to videos to sound files to interactive activities. E-content is available with some open license. First, we have to search for that, and then it doesn't mean that in this 15 minutes, whatever you search, those two are final for your course. This is just a practice exercise. You please figure out two resources, either it could be a text or an image, which you think that it is useful for your course, and how you want to use it with the remark. Okay, then we'll move on to interactive resources also, how to find them and how to attribute them. यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है ना सर, some rights reserved, and the moment you see there is an attribution. And if anybody interested, please go through in Flickr, hashtag we like sharing. It is by a professor, and read her journey, how she created a renewable assignment for her students, and now how it has really had a global recognition. It's called hashtag we like sharing. Sharing, let me show you. Yeah. This is the one. You read about this we like sharing. This professor, tonight I will share this entire document. This like e-learning, it's from Germany, TU Delft. And I will also, if you can figure out yourself, that's wonderful. Otherwise, I remember all these which I said I will share. I will be sharing all of them. So read that wonderful journey. And then she also now offering a case study kind and guidelines. If any of you want to follow the same pattern to create such kind of a renewable assignment. So it's one of the good examples. She did an assessment.